Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to do the first 7 poses in the sequence for upper backache given by Mr. Iyengar in his book Yoga, the Path to Holistic Health. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to start using a chair and a couple of bricks and the wall. So let's take our mat to the wall and we'll organise our chair and bricks once we're there. Have your chair facing into the wall and we'll bring our bricks onto the chair seat. Let's bring the chair right into the wall. So the chair seat is facing the wall, the chair is touching the wall. We're going to use our bricks as a platform underneath our right foot. So if we have the bricks stacked flat one on top of each other, that could work depending on the length of your legs. You may want to go a bit higher. So perhaps you can even create a higher point for that foot by putting a blade-shaped brick on top of the flat brick. So I'm going to turn around and step my right foot up onto this brick. So I've got a significant hip flexion, the knees flexed and the hips flexed. We want the feet to be pointing forward, just as if we're standing in Tadasana. So just watch, particularly this standing leg, the left leg, it may want to turn out. See that the foot is pointing forward and that the inner left thigh can roll back, which helps to bring the outer left hip forward. The head of the right thigh descends, so the hip sockets are sitting the same level. You're not wanting that right hip to sit higher than the left. So head of the right thigh descends, both sides of the waist are the same length, and then we turn to the wall. Now, clearly, if you feel too close, you can step out a little bit. I might take my bricks just a little further out from the wall so that I've got more space to turn. So as I press my hands to the wall, I'm using the pressure, particularly now of the right hand on the wall, to peel the right chest further around towards the right and encourage the left chest to sweep around towards the wall. I'm keeping the elbows up, I'm not letting them drop down. As I lift the elbows, I'm wanting to encourage more lift and length through the sides of the chest, the armpit chest. And I go on working the head of the right thigh down, restraining the outer right hip forward in the direction the right toes are facing. So we're doing Utthita Marichyasana. And feel with the standing leg how the tailbone can descend quite easily. And then as you're coming into a spinal twist, we're wanting to feel the twist particularly from the middle to the upper back. Then come out of the twist and let's step the right leg down and walk to the other side of the chair, and we'll step the left leg up. So as you take your left leg up, again you've got a deep hip flexion and you can decide how much height you need underneath that left foot. But once more, just make sure that your feet are not turning out. We're wanting to keep the feet tracking parallel to each other as if we're standing in Tadasana, those feet are together. Particularly be mindful of the standing leg. As you keep your toes pointing forward, then you'll be able to access rolling the inner right thigh back more, which encourages this outer right hip forward. Then as you twist, take care the knee doesn't go with you. Restrain that left knee so it's in the same line, the same plane as your left hip. Turn to the wall and descend the head of the left thigh. Head of the left thigh down so that both sides of the waist are the same length. You're not allowing that left waist to shorten because the hip is riding up. Head of the left thigh down and you're restraining that outer left hip forward in the same direction as the left toes are facing. So the pelvis is stable and we're maintaining a pelvic abdominal lift, pubis to navel lifting up. And as you push into the wall with your left hand, use that to help rotate your torso. Left chest turns around to the left. Right chest follows the left chest. Notice your shoulders. Keep your shoulders rolling back and down. So again, we're wanting to feel the twist in the upper back. And come out of the pose. Step down let's bring the chair away from the wall. We can put our bricks aside. And if I mirror you, we're going to sit on our chair with the right side body facing the side of the chair. So we're doing Bharadvajasana, sitting with the right side body facing the back of the chair, knees and feet together. Establish your feet on the floor. So if you're short in the lower legs and it's hard to get your feet down, you can put bricks underneath your feet. But then you twist. So as you twist, again, we're wanting to feel that we're contained, we're compact in the hips. The hips aren't playing into the twist, but we're working from the waist up as we rotate. So you're twisting to the right side first. You can push the right hand into the chair to help turn the right chest further to the right and pull with the left hand. So the pushing with the right hand and the pulling with the left hand can help you orient your chest further around to the right. But feel into what your shoulder blades are doing, what your shoulder tips are doing, the top of the upper arm bones, and also what your chest is doing. So you don't want to be twisting with a collapsed chest and rounded shoulders. If we're particularly focusing on the upper back here, you want to feel that the thoracic spine is moving in, it's pressing in towards the sternum, encouraging the sternum to lift. The shoulder tips are rolling back and down. Again, I've got the elbows up enough that my armpit chest feels free to lift. Then come out of the twist on that side and then turn yourself around so that you can twist to your left. Knees and feet together. Again, we want to feel that we're compact here in the hips. Keeping the hips stable, keeping the pelvis stable, twist to your left. And as you twist, watch your chest, watch your spine. Can you lift the spine from the lumbar region, draw the thoracic spine in so that your breastbone is lifted. And then as you work with your hands on the chair, you'll push with your left hand and pull with your right hand to help you twist further around to your left. And then notice the feeling in the shoulder blades and the shoulder tips. Just watch that your shoulder tips are not rolling forward. So as you roll the shoulder tips back and down, shoulder blades can move down the back. And also notice the armpit chest. Can you keep that lifted as you rotate? And then come out of the twist, pause there for a moment. Now we'll come to stand up and let's put our chair away. Given that we've got our mat to the wall, let's use the wall for Tadasana and Urdhva Hastasana and Urdhva Baddhangulyasana, the next three poses. So if we stand to the wall, let's bring our feet hip width apart and keep your feet parallel. Press your thighs back to the wall. And feel, just for a moment actually, let's bend the knees so that we can draw the tailbone down and move the buttock flesh down the wall. And then as you straighten your knees, you'll feel the buttock flesh can slide down the wall, which encourages more length in the lower back. And to maintain that length and a feeling of strength, you've got to lift up the navel region, the pelvic abdominal area. So pubis to navel lifting up. Press the shoulder tips back to the wall. So feel as if your arms and your shoulder tips here, the very top of the upper arm bone, being pressed back to the wall, back of the hands to the wall. But watch that you're not pushing the ribs away from the wall in order to do that. See if you can contain the front body. Keep the lower back ribs broad to the wall. So there's a containing of the lower front ribs, there's a containing of the navel and that with the pelvic abdominal lift. Now, maintaining the actions that we've set up. We'll do Urdhva Hastasana, which is the upward arm pose. So sweep your arms forward and up. And you reach your thumbs back towards the wall. Clearly my cupboards don't continue up, but I'm imagining I've got the wall there for my thumbs to reach back to. But I want to watch that I'm not causing the buttocks to stick back and the belly to push forward. So we want to keep the lumbar spine long. If it's helpful, bend your knees again. Buttock flesh down the wall and then slide the buttock flesh down the wall as you straighten the legs. Go on pressing the thighs back, because if you want to suction the thighs back to the wall, and you continue to zip the navel up, pubis to navel lifting up as you lift the entire circumference of the rib cage up. Exhale the arms down. And we're going to Urdhva Baddhangulyasana. So we interlock the fingers, press the palms forward. And again, let's just bend the knees here a little bit so that the buttock flesh can draw down, tailbone can draw down. And inhale your arms up. Take the little finger edge of the hands back towards the wall and then slowly straighten the knees, suction the thighs back to the wall, and let the buttock flesh be drawn down the wall. Draw the navel up from the pubis, front pelvic bones lifting, but you're containing the lower front ribs. Again, just watching your ribs aren't pulling away from the wall. Lower back ribs lifting and broadening. Exhale, arms forward and down. Swap the interlock of the fingers so the opposite index finger comes on top. Palms forward, elbows straight. Breastbone lifted. Inhale. Stretch the arms up and keep the tailbone down. Navel up. The entire circumference of the rib cage lifting up away from the wall. Back ribs particularly. And exhale. Arms forward and down. And we'll step away from the wall. Now we can move the mat away from the wall. And we're going to work still with some shoulder mobility, because the shoulders will relate to what's happening in the upper back. So let's step the feet to hip width and be in Tadasana. Stretch down to the fingertips. And take the arms out to the sides. Turn the thumb side down. Bring the hands behind the back. So the thumb and the index finger will be touching. So the hands the arms, the upper arms are internally rotated. Then see if you can bring all the fingertips to touch. And turn the fingers in towards the spine and up, so that we're coming into Paschima Namaskarasana. Now, before we take the hands any further, I'll just mention that if this is really challenging for you, you could work to hold the wrists, walk the hands along the forearms to the elbows. But if you're managing, fingers turning in and up, take the hands up a little more so you can get the heels of the hands in contact and press the shoulder tips back. So if we look at the pose from the side, if I'm pressing the shoulder tips back, I can keep my chest lifted and the heels of the hands can come together. Ideally, the knuckles of the index fingers, heels of the hands come together as the shoulder tips press back. So we don't worry so much about pressing the elbows back. They will go back when the shoulder tips press back. If all you did was press the elbow tips back, then commonly the trapezius muscles start to lift and the shoulders want to roll forward. So shoulder tips press back, very top of the upper arm bone, but then you want to resist the spine back to the hands. So if you're soft in the lower back, or perhaps weak in the abdomen, the hands will push the spine forward and you want to be arching your back. So you've got to resist the spine back into the hands as you lift the navel up. Then we can stretch the arms out as we release, arms out to shoulder height. Turn the palms up, inhale, look up, hands together, exhale through prayer posture. Now we'll do another arm variation, and if you do have some stiffness in your shoulders, you may prefer to work with a belt. I'll demonstrate with the belt. For Gomukhasana, you can minimize the loop in your belt, so we don't need to worry about using the loop. We've got the rest of the belt to play with. So if I'm mirroring you, take your right arm up, hold the belt with the right hand and dangle it down the back. Reach your hand down the back, but see that the elbow is vertically top the shoulder. It's not out to the side. It's not too far forward. Now, if it is a long way forward, that may be an indication of some tightness, whether it's in the triceps or the shoulder, but try and push the elbow tip back. So you can roll the triceps forward with your other hand, press the elbow tip back, and then you'll reach your left hand up the back to take a grip. So you take a grip of the belt, the elbows are pointing directly up and down. Then watch the abdominal area. Again, just watch that you're not pressing the spine forward and pressing the abdomen forward. Tailbone down, pubis to navel up, and the lower front ribs are contained. So again, it's as if the spine is resisting back into the hands. Now, of course, if you can take a grip, a monkey grip with your hands, you're welcome to do that. But let's release from this side. Stretch out wide. If you're using the belt, you can take the belt in your left hand. Now I'll demonstrate without the belt on the other side so that you can see the monkey grip of the fingers. So we'll have left arm reaching up, and if you're using the belt, dangle the belt down your back. Reach the left hand down the back, and you can use your right hand to help roll the triceps forward and to press the elbow tip back so that the elbow is more in line with the shoulder. Then the right hand can reach up the back, so potentially you can take a monkey grip with your fingers or you use the grip of the belt. Now this left elbow tip for you will be pressing up towards the ceiling, right elbow tip pointing down towards the floor, and the tailbone's lengthening down, pubis to navel lifting up. So we're containing the abdomen, we're containing the front ribs, resisting any tendency to go into our lumbar lordosis. Stay strong in the mid-body, exploring the mobility in your shoulders, and feeling how that relates to your upper back. And stretch the arms out as you release, then lower the arms. Now in the sequence there are some standing poses before we get to dog pose, but for the purpose of this video, keeping it brief, we're going to finish with down face dog pose. So let's come down onto the knees. Big toes touching, knees apart. Stretch forward, measuring the distance between the hands and the feet for your dog pose. Broaden the palms, spread the fingers. Inhale, shoulders forward, tuck your toes. Exhale, lift up your hips. Feet are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Start with your heels lifting up high. Magnify the lift of the sitting bones. And then move your thoracic spine in. So the spine between your shoulder blades, can you move it in? We've already done some work on our shoulders in the previous poses. So as we move the thoracic spine in, the shoulders ideally are cooperating with that. And then we'll slowly work the heels back and down. So as you work the heels down, go on lifting the sitting bones, watch that you're not rounding your back. And continue to move the thoracic spine in so that upper back is not rounding. Easy, steady breathing. And we'll come down onto the knees again and have a rest. Bring the forearms underneath your forehead, rest your forehead down. And as you're ready, you can come to sitting. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we were really only practicing the first 7 poses of the sequence. We added a dog pose in there, which is part of the sequence, but it comes a little later. If you would like to practice the whole sequence with me, I have just recently uploaded that to my video library on my website. It's known as Therapeutic number 16. I invite you to go over to my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au, and start with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.